just being asked by Eric Clapton to be a part of the Crossroads Festival is tremendous honor and a privilege, I really feel. I mean, the first connection was to write or compose the music for the documentary on his life, and that's how actually I met him. You know, I've been a fan. I grew up in Argentina, and I was a big fan of Cream, and then that obviously led me to find out more about, you know, his previous work. It's been always a big inspiration as a musician, but then I got to know him as a man and you know quite a bit about his life because of the documentary. But then having the opportunity to come here and also share the stage with some of these huge artists, all of them or most of them, you know, people that I admire immensely. It's been absolutely a very different experience of anything that I've done before in my career. When you have, so many artists, part of doing these festivals, and one of the challenges is that you have, in most of occasions, and not that a long time. You don't have, the amount of time that you usually have at a concert. I thought, you know what, if I do 4 songs, I'm at the risk of running a little bit longer. And then also, I'm not going to be able to talk and say some of the things that I want to say. I'm going to just play 3 songs. So that was one of the decisions I had to make. And then obviously decide what I was going to play, And then I knew that I had to do things that somehow were related to my film work, because that's what lots of people know me for. But I also wanted to express some of my also things that are very close to me, which is, the whole rock en español movement, which I consider to be a big part, and thing, which is a hit that I had in Argentina called Ando Rodando, sang in Spanish, And that, I think, really ended up, the audience. That's when I got the standing ovation. It was a tremendous moment, something that I will treasure for the rest of my life, Beautiful. For the show, I brought 2 instruments of mine. A guitar made in Spain by a guitar maker named Bernal. It's a fantastic classic guitar, and nylon string guitars are typical for not only for Spanish and flamenco music, but also for our Argentinian folk music. We use quite a bit. That's the main guitar that we use. And I also brought for the Ushuaia La Quiaca, a ronroco. A ronroco is an instrument that is related to the charango, and it's a 5 double string instrument. And then for Ando Rodando, I use a Taylor guitar. I use, this is something that I was provided here with, but I used Taylors. I have several guitars. I have Martins, but Taylor is the guitar I use also for the score of Brokeback Mountain. I used a Taylor that I purchased like 35 years ago. Acoustic instruments, one of the things that they have is precisely the connection that they have to start with your body. Because when you play an electric instrument, you rely a lot in the sound that is coming out of an amplifier, which already is, disconnected from your body. When you play an acoustic instrument like this, you have it against your chest. And, when you play, you not only hear it, but you feel it in your body. You achieve that a little bit with an electric instrument with volume, and getting close to the amp. I like both, but that's something that I feel more introspective in an acoustic instrument than in an electric. Well, I think, I work a lot with emotions, For example, in movies in general, I rather work from the script than watching a movie. To work in Eric's documentary, actually, it was knowing his story. You know, actually, I've read a lot of stuff before, and I knew a lot of things. So it was inspired in his music and in his story much more so than just watching, you know, the footage, which was amazing. Anyhow, there's some great, and some tough, really, things to watch in the film. You know, some really moving things. I mean, it was very tough for Eric to do. So I tried to connect basically with the emotions of a life of a man that actually is a survivor, and actually, you know, of many big obstacles. I got inspired and I got connected through the emotions that I felt he felt in those moments of his life. I think if I have to give advice, you know, to somebody that's starting, I think, you know, there's three important things. The first one is to develop a work ethic. I'm a true believer in that thing that is, you know, 80% of perspiration and 20% of inspiration. Second is to find your own voice, to find your identity. Who do you want to be? You know, who you want to be doing what you do. What is your voice? And this is something that can be applied to anything that you want to do. So work ethic, you know, finding your own identity. And once you have those two things, the third will be to stay true to that vision. Because lots of times, especially when you're starting, and then also when you made it, so to speak, you're going to be tempted by things, by offers, you know, that don't necessarily reverberate with what you think or with your vision, you know. And then some people lots of times say, well, you know, I'm going to do this now, but so then I can do, you know, what I really want to do, you know. And I understand, because sometimes, you know, I mean, I came to this country, you know, in 1978. I had to leave Argentina, kind of, you know. We have a very difficult political situation where 30,000 people disappeared at the hands of the government. And it was very, very difficult, and still keeping true to my vision and stuff. Some moments, you know, it was hard because I was offered things that I didn't want to do, but I had a child, and, you know, and somehow I went through. I didn't went out of what I wanted to do. And really, at certain point, you know, things happen. So when you made it, so, you know, then you get other type of offers, extremely lucrative offers that can also be, but if it's not something that really reverberates with you, you shouldn't do it. So those three things: work ethics, finding your vision, and staying true to that vision. Those are the three things you should do. And if you do that, something will happen.